So hi and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be doing a review of this, and this is an IK foamer. It's just the standard one. There is sort of a pro version of this, just slightly more expensive, but I've just gone for the standard one. Wanted to see whether it was basically a bit of a gimmick or whether it was any good. And so I picked this one up from Into Detailing for £17, just thought it was pretty reasonable. I'm sort of just kind of briefly showing you it. You've got the nozzle here, which is just a standard kind of fan setting. You don't really get any adjustment on that. You've got the pump obviously, and you've got a sort of valve here that you can just press down to release the pressure. So I'm basically going to be showing you this in action and showing you the three different kind of mixers, they call them, that it comes with, that adjust how thick or thin the foam is, and giving you my kind of overall recommendations as to whether it is a gimmick, the pros and cons, and ultimately what I thought. So I'm going to jump to the clips and show it you in action before I talk again about it, kind of summarise it at the end. But for reference, I was using this with Garage Therapy wheel shampoo, and I was using 10ml of the wheel shampoo to 500ml of water inside this. So I'll jump to the clips and show you what it looks like. So the product comes with these kind of spares really, so you've got some spare filters, and you've also got these mixers, they call them, and they effectively determine how thick or thin the foam is. So it comes with three. You get a grey one, which is the one that it comes fitted with, and you also get an orange and a green one as well. So here I'm just kind of showing you how you actually change these. So what you do first, if you basically just pull off the pickup pipe, and then it is a little bit of a pain, if I'm honest. It sort of needs loosening a little bit, and then you can go ahead and actually pull off the mixer itself, and you just slot it in. So it really doesn't take too long, sort of a few seconds really to change them, but you'll probably want to choose your favourite and stick with it, makes life a little bit easier. So I'm now going to show you really kind of how each of the mixers performs, so you can decide which one's probably going to work best for you. I wanted to really show you kind of how much sort of foaming action you get based on how much effort it actually takes to use this thing. So what I did was pumped it up 25 times just with the standard mixer, the grey one that it comes with, and sprayed on the wheels. Now as you can see, it comes out pretty good start. What I've kind of noticed with this is you probably get about 15 seconds per 25 pumps of really good kind of pressure, and then you can see it start to dwindle off. You can get to about 30 seconds before it completely dies. And again, it's going to depend really on how much you've got in the mix. At this moment in time it was half full, just to kind of give you a rough estimate. So the first nozzle that I'm jumping in with here is the orange one. So this is considered to sort of be the wettest foam of them all. So the advantages of this really is that it actually uses less product. It's quite economical to be able to cover the entire surface quite quickly. But the foam is quite thin, might be too thin for some circumstances. As you can see, it does drip off, but it does still do a decent job at clinging. The second one we've got here is the grey one, so the one it comes fitted with. This is the intermediate one, so you can see that it does have a little bit better sort of cling action. But in terms of spreading evenly over the surface, you're gonna have to move a little bit slower. So use slightly more product in the circumstances. So it just depends whether really you kind of want that extra cling, that extra foam. Really kind of going to depend on what products you're actually using and whether you need that. So here you can kind of really see at the sort of speed it's dripping off, slightly slower than the orange one, but not a drastic difference to be honest, in between those two. So the biggest difference really is when you come to using the green one, which is the dry foam. So you can see this is a little bit more sputtery. Honestly, my least favourite out of the three. It does okay, but I think you don't really need the foam to be that thick in a lot of circumstances. Definitely not on the wheels. I wouldn't find it particularly necessary. And it just takes a lot longer to kind of get complete coverage, and you are using more products because it is coming on at that sort of thicker foam. So you can see it here, it does have a very good sort of cling. Now I just wanted to show them all kind of next to each other. So you can really see here there's not a massive amount of difference between the orange and the grey one, and the biggest difference really is when you use the green one. So if you're using the thinner one, it's going to spread more quickly, but again you're going to get that less thick foam. You might want more lubrication if you're using the thicker one, so it's kind of just really up to you which you feel would be more appropriate. For me, I think I prefer either the grey or the orange one. Probably going to stick with the grey one, just the one it comes with. I think it does have that happy medium. So first, kind of starting with the cons of this, what did I not particularly like about it? Well, the sort of most obvious one really is that you don't get a massive amount of sort of foaming time, but based on how many times you actually have to pump it. It's not a massive deal. Of course, if you're using something like this, then, you know, you can't expect it to last forever and to pump it, 10 times and it lasts for a minute. It's just not going to happen. I don't know how they changed the design for it to actually do that. But it might be a little bit annoying for some people, the amount of times you actually have to pump it up. Personally, I'll sort of pump it up and I'll be able to get a full wheel in the arches and in the barrel and over the tyre and things like that without having any issues. It's sort of just kind of starting to splutter at the end when I've sort of done a full round of pumping and full wheel. So it's enough for me. If you were maybe going to be doing it in place of a snow foam, if you don't have a snow foam cannon or a pressure washer or something like that, you might find it a little bit annoying, but if you haven't got a foam cannon, then that's going to be kind of your best bet. It's going to be your only option. So it'd take a while to get around a car with it. It's probably possible, but it's probably not going to be particularly kind of optimal. It's not, you would never use this instead of a foam cannon if you had one, is what I'm trying to say. So one other thing that I did kind of notice with this, it isn't really particularly a fault of the product, but if you leave any solution in here and then maybe come back a week later and try and use it again and pump it up, it tends to sort of, the foaming action of it, the foam that's produced is quite weak, it's quite thin, and it basically, I think it's because maybe it's the wheel shampoo within the bottle that's sort of losing the stability, or when I kind of open it up, it's become quite foamy itself. If you're carrying it about, you're going to mix it up and create that foam, and it's not going to pump as well. So it's just something that I kind of observe with it. It's not a particularly fault of the product, but when you are mixing this up, I just recommend using the amount you're planning on using during the actual wash process. So for me, 500ml is what I go for. Sometimes once I did it with a litre, I was thinking, oh, I'll get 2 weeks out of this, and then the foam on the second run wasn't as great. Might have been coincidence, but I did try it twice, so I don't think it was, but it's not particularly fault of the product, but it's just something that I did want to mention. So those are really, if I'm honest, the only kind of real cons of it. In terms of what I liked about it, I think that it's good because you can use it for a lot of different purposes. Now, I used it for the wheels, that's what I bought it for. I bought it to use with the Garage Therapy wheel shampoo. But I've seen people use it for sort of various different things, people using it in door shuts, on the engine bay, even people using it on upholstery to kind of foam up the shampoo and things like that. So it is quite versatile. If you are someone in the trade, perhaps it might be more useful. For me, I've just used it as wheel shampoo though, to be honest. That's kind of really why I bought it. I think that the bottle design of it, and I'll just grab it really quickly, is quite good as well. I think it holds a decent amount of liquid. Like I said, I use 500ml, so having a litre capacity is well more than enough for me. I think if you were snow foaming a car as well, I think that'd be well more than enough as well. Also, the design of it, it feels reasonably sturdy. I like the fact that it's a wide opening. It's probably always going to be like this with this kind of design, but it does make it quite easy to pour stuff in. The only probably weak point of it is here. Now it is quite sturdy, there's no rattling or anything like that. The only time I could see it being an issue if you drop this with full of product and you were a particularly unlucky person, then you might snap that bit. I'm not sure, I'm not going to try. But potentially there you might have to be a little bit careful of it, but I'd say that was probably the only weak point. Other than that, I'd say the design's pretty good. So what do I actually think of it then? Well, is it a gimmick? A little bit, I suppose, but does it make my life easier? Do I enjoy using it? Absolutely. I'm now using this every single time I clean my car's wheels or any of my family's car's wheels. I use this every time. I think it's a really good way of getting the product on. You don't actually have to use much either. You might think that that wouldn't be economical with a product, but it's actually the opposite. I use less sort of wheel shampoo using that than I would in a bucket. I use like 10ml a go in that, so it's actually quite economical with the product. So it's £17. You're probably not going to get that money back. If I'm looking at how much you're actually saving, you're probably saving a couple of mil each time. It's not a massive deal, but you're not wasting loads of products is what I'm trying to say. And so ultimately, do I like it? Yeah, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be using it week in, week out. I do think it is actually pretty good, and especially £17, it's not too bad either. So what I'm going to do is leave a link in the description to that. So I got mine from Into Detailing. You can get it from various places, but I'll leave a link to the one that I purchased, so you can go and check that out. I think if you're on the fence and you just want to kind of upgrade your wheel cleaning routine a little bit, then you're probably going to enjoy using this. It is quite fun, to be honest. But I hope you did enjoy this video. If you have, it'd be brilliant if you could give it a like, comment down below if you've got any questions about it. Have you tried this yourself? I'd love to hear it. If you tried any other of the options out there, I know there's one called a Marilex one, and the reason I didn't get that is just because it was a little bit more expensive. Has anyone tried the pro version of this either? Does that have any kind of benefits? Does it have a longer pump? I'd like to hear. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you've tried it. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.